Looking to emigrate to Australia, but not sure which city to make your home? We will give you a rundown of the best places to live in Australia. With its famously sunny climate and laid-back culture, is it any wonder that moving to Australia is a popular choice among expats? The expat population down under is growing across all states and age groups, from young globetrotters to mature retirees. Airfares are getting cheaper, and the growth in communication technologies, such as Skype, mean moving across the world to Australia is no longer such a daunting prospect. It's now possible to have that new life in the sun and stay in close contact with family back home. Love the idea of living the Aussie dream, but no idea where to live in Australia? No worries. We have put together a list of 10 great destinations for expats, based on factors such as the cost of living, the availability of schools and universities, employment opportunities, and things to do. Check out which places made our list below. Here is the 10 best states to live in Australia. Number 10. Byron Bay. From its beaches to its whale watching and organic food, Byron Bay is a popular spot for beach bums, backpackers and nomads alike. Byron Bay draws visitors, not just for its rugged coastline, but, with scrubby cliffs and cool beaches, it's also got a relaxed atmosphere that keeps people coming back. There's a hippie by the sea vibe here, in a town named after the grandfather of famous poet, Lord Byron, previously named Kavanagh, which means meeting place. It's relatively a place to live, the kind of town where getting around on a bicycle is the norms. But you could choose to base yourself in Sunrise, a cheaper part of town that's still pretty close to the beach, just a 10-minute cycle away from the center, Lilly-Pilly. Byron is also a nice place to live, all small houses with cute gardens. Byron Bay is a place with relaxed atmosphere, healthy lifestyle and dramatic natural landscape. Byron Bay, the easternmost point of Australia, is also super famous for its whale watching opportunities. When the whales pass by, from May to November, you can get a boat to go see them, or just spot them from the headland. Surf culture, like in much of the countries, is big news in Byron Bay. But when you are not hitting the beach, or the surf, you can fill your stomach at the vegan or vegetarian restaurants, chow down at street food stalls, or have a drink or two at the town's selection of bars. Before you actually move to Byron Bay, it might be a good idea to visit first and get a feel for the place. Overview of Byron Bay. Monthly cost of living in Byron Bay. $33.65/month. Cost of rent in Byron Bay. $2,196 per month. Number 9. Sydney. Sydney and its sights are the perfect choice. Sydney may not be the capital of Australia, but it is the largest city. This is where it all goes down. Just think, you could spend evenings hanging at Sydney Opera House, days surfing at Bondi Beach, and yet more of your time hitting up the Asian food on offer in the city's Chinatown. Though the very center of Sydney itself can be pricey, we would recommend the neighborhood of Manly. It's a simple ferry ride to town, with all the other commuters. There's so much to do in Sydney, city living and great food scene. Sydney may have those glossy icons, like the Opera House, and plenty of shiny skyscrapers, but if you look a little bit closer, you'll find evidence of the city's past. There are plenty of historic buildings to explore, in the area called the Rocks, the oldest part of the city. Sydney's central business district is the place to go if you want bars and restaurants galore. We would also recommend hitting up the night market in Chinatown for a foodie buzz after dark. Overview of Sydney. Monthly cost of living in Sydney. $26.75/month. Cost of rent in Sydney. $1,634 per month. Number 8. Hobart. Hobart is the gateway to the natural splendors of Tasmania. The city of Hobart is a good place for a getaway. Hobart is the capital of Tasmania, the island state of Australia, and sits on a backdrop of Mount Wellington, 1,270 meters, which can be hiked, thanks to numerous trails of Wellington Park. The town itself has many picturesque old buildings, making it a charming place for a wander on your days off, including the 1830s Salamanca Place. When it comes to looking for an area to live in Hobart, we'd recommend starting your search at North Hobart. Close to the CBD, easy to reach on public transport, this relaxed, friendly suburb has parks and a good feel. It was once a little rough around the edges, but no longer. Battery Point is also a good option if a little more pricey. Relatively chilled city, picturesque place to live, plenty of nature on the doorstep. The colonial-style buildings at Battery Point Now House is a plethora of shops and cafes, making it a cool hangout for nomads who like to sip coffee. The Museum of Old and New Art, or MONA, is also a good place to explore, especially if you're into art, obviously, described by its founder as a subversive adult Disneyland. Port Arthur is another good site in town. This historic place features British Empire buildings, over 30 of them, in fact. For beer fans, and more history, check out the oldest brewery in Australia, the Cascade Brewery, founded in 1832. Overview of Hobart. Monthly cost of living in Hobart. $16.54/month. Cost of rent in Hobart. $887 per month. Number 7. Perth. Perth is close to white sand beaches, with historic architecture. Perth is a laid-back coastal city, escape for nomads. Perth is the capital of Western Australia, and one of the most remote cities in the world. When you're in the city itself, you certainly feel the weight of the natural world around you, with deserts to the north, south and east, and wide open sea to the west. There's a lot of open space to enjoy, if you like the great outdoors. Head to Maylands, if you want a nice place to live in Perth, that comes complete with quirky vintage shops, and cute bakeries. Alternatively, the coastal suburb of Fremantle is a chilled, cheaper place to base yourself, complete with surfer vibe feels. Easy access to beaches, so much nature to explore. Generally open and chilled atmosphere. In the city itself, you can hit up Kings Park. The bold claim to fame here is that it's said to be one of, if not the, largest inner-city parks in the world. Here you'll see people jogging, families enjoying time together, plus, you'll be able to get some great views of Perth from the higher vantage point here. Perth's beaches are also part of the lure of the city. Head to Bathurst Beach, named for obvious reasons, and also City and Cotslow Beach, to laze around on the gaze out on the miles and miles of the Indian Ocean. Apart from offshore, Rottnest Island, there's nothing out there till Madagascar. Overview of Perth. Monthly cost of living in Perth. $26.89/month. Cost of rent. In Perth. $1,765 per month. Number 6. Melbourne. Melbourne, with its music scene and bohemian vibes, Melbourne is a great choice for nomads looking for alternative city living. Melbourne is a top Australian city, where people from over 200 countries make up a super multicultural, urban landscape. You'll find the largest Greek population outside of Greece here, for instance. In the city's various festivals, from food markets to cultural celebrations. For a quirky cool hipster neighborhood, head to Fitzroy. Here you'll find plenty of street art, vegetarian hangouts, and coffee shops. St. Kilda is all about healthy living, where everyone jogs and eats in good restaurants. For another option, Windsor is home to plenty of students, places, with great Wi-Fi and cheap eats, amazing food scene, culture, art, music, festivals. When it comes to culture, there's a lot going on here, designated for its literature, believe it or not. Festivals abound, like the Writers' Festival, International Jazz Festival, and Film Festival to get excited about. There's also markets to delve into. Queen Victoria Market is huge, but Camberwell Market is great for vintage finds. Food is big news in Melbourne. You will find new wave food trucks, high-end dining, late-night snacks, and a ton of places for you to get a good cup of coffee. Overview of Melbourne. Monthly cost of living in Melbourne. $22.34/month. Cost of rent in Melbourne. $693 per month. Number 5. Wollongong. Wollongong is one for the sea-loving nomads, situated 90 minutes south of Sydney, by car, at least. Wollongong is all about living by the sea. Here you will find beaches, rock pools, cliff walks, and plenty of other natural distractions that tend to lean towards the ocean, so, if you like surfing, or just staring at the sea, this is the place for you. The inner suburb of Mount Pleasant is a, well, pleasant place to base yourself. Here you'll find plenty of malls and cafes, all within a short distance of the CBD. In the north, Woonona is another good option for you, to live in Wollongong. It's also right near the beach, with plenty of eateries to sample, too. Huge amount of great food, fun nightlife, tons of museums. The center is very relaxed. Wollongong is very walkable. It's not that big, so you will be able to explore the city, on foot, hitting up its new, cool and quirky cafe, bar and restaurant scene. In fact, 80 new establishments have sprung up since 2012. Wollongong City Gallery, in the heart of town, is the place to go to get your fill of Australian and Aboriginal art. Each year the city puts on the Wonder Walls Festival, where you can discover huge pieces of art daubed on the walls of the city. Pretty cool. Overview of Wollongong. Monthly cost of living in Wollongong. $18.43/month. Cost of rent in Wollongong. $884 per month. Number 4. Brisbane. Brisbane is the skyscraper-clad capital of Queensland, and the perfect place to head for everything city living affords. This large city has a lot more to it than first meets the eye. There's actually a lot of culture going on here, from the botanic gardens on Mount Cootha, to the weekend farmers markets, where you can pick up fresh, organic produce. In fact, there's a lot of eating to be done in general, with a healthy restaurant scene to explore. If Brisbane sounds good to you, then you look into living in New Farm. This suburb is all about its parks, nightlife and historic buildings. Spring Hill is an inner suburb, featuring yet more park and clusters of Victorian buildings, for a decidedly picturesque place to base yourself in Brisbane. Affordable rent for a large city, loads of great beaches nearby. Warmer weather. For music fans, Brisbane is a good option. Go catch some live music at one of the city's many venues, like the Cool Triffid. For fashion lovers, shop for trendy new jams on James Street. For foodies, there's Powerhouse Farmers Market, not only good for fresh fruit and veg, but also gourmet eats as you browse around. To get to grips with the city, we'd recommend taking a trip along the Brisbane River. It's a good way to check out all the architectural styles and parks on offer here, plus a pretty chill way to spend an afternoon. Overview of Brisbane. Monthly cost of living in Brisbane, $21.29/month. Cost of rent in Brisbane, $1,068 per month. Number 3. Gold Coast. South of Brisbane lies the city of Gold Coast. Ever since the Surfers Paradise Hotel opened up in the 1920s, this whole region has boomed as a beach resort, popular with surfers, of course. But the very wide beach itself is pretty impressive, stretching for miles and miles, making it perfect for anyone who likes the feel of sand between their toes. Though Gold Coast can be a little on the expensive side, living in Southport is a lot more affordable. Amazing beaches, tons of stuff to do, outdoor activities. Being a popular destination for tourists, as well as locals, there's a ton of things that are geared towards visitors in Gold Coast, such as amusement parks like Warner Brothers, Movie World and Dream World, to name just a couple. For something more natural, head to Springbrook National Park, for a slice of temperate rainforest. For fans of food, after a busy day of surfing, navigate your way through the notable high-rise skyline of the city to Miami Marquetta. Here you will find a whole selection of street eats to the soundtrack of live music, all washed down with freshly made cocktails, of course. Overview of Gold Coast. Monthly cost of living in Gold Coast. $18.63/month. Cost of rent in Gold Coast. $1,065 per month. Number 2. Adelaide. Cultural and cosmopolitan, Adelaide is a true city for curious nomads to explore. Adelaide is the capital of South Australia, and the place to go if you're a fan of old architecture. There's plenty of that to be found in this interesting and pretty historic city. In fact, Adelaide boasts the nickname the City of Churches owing to the sheer amount of churches to be found on its planned-out grid system streets. For somewhere to live in Adelaide, check out Bohemian Brompton. This neighborhood is a bit of a student hub, with plenty of hipster hangouts, great for cheap eats and drinks, vintage shops, and all pretty close to the city center. For somewhere near the beach, head to Brighton, or Glenelg in the west of Adelaide. Friendly people, interesting place. Start your adventures in the city, at the 150-year-old South Australian Museum, complete with the country's largest collection of Indigenous artifacts, or the Art Gallery of South Australia, the manicured grounds of the University of Adelaide, or wander around Victoria Square, the focal point for the city in the 1850s. You should definitely catch a match at the Adelaide Oval, a cricket match, of course. These are rowdy and exciting. After that, fill your stomach at Adelaide Central Market, dating back to 1869, or go enjoy the delicious delights of the city's historic, and still functioning, Chinatown. Overview of Adelaide. Monthly cost of living in Adelaide. $17.14/month. Cost of rent in Adelaide. $1,064 per month. Number 1. Cairns. Considered the gateway to the Great Barrier Reef, the city of Cairns is popular with people who want to see life beneath the waves. Set in the region of far north Queensland, Cairns is where Australia starts to get tropical. People often visit Cairns on their way to the Whitsunday Islands and the incredible Great Barrier Reef, but Cairns itself has its fair share of natural landscapes, including a reef and rainforest. Thinking of a move to Cairns? Then you should consider the neighborhood of Cairns North, a friendly place to live, that's also quite near Flicker Botanical Garden, more affordable than other areas of the city. There's also Edge Hill, a good place if you're into nature, is further from the sparkling sea, but cheaper than coastal neighborhoods. A place to meet people, right near the Great Barrier Reef. Good quality of life. There is a lot of nature to be had in this northern part of the country. For example, for a gorgeous part of the nearby Daintree rainforest, head to the Mossman Gorge, where you'll find trails that wind through the lush jungle. After a sweaty hike, your efforts will be rewarded by the chance to swim in the cooling waters of the gorge itself. The city itself has more culture than you'd expect. Get your art on at the Cairns Art Gallery, and then head to one of the many cafes at the city to fill your stomach with good eats. Overview of Cairns. Monthly cost of living in Cairns. $16.23/month. Cost of rent in Cairns. $714 per month. Please, if this is your first time on my YouTube channel, kindly like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and click the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks and remain blessed.
Join me on a journey across the globe, from hidden gems, history, and breathtaking landscapes to local culture, food, and insider travel tips. Whether you're planning your next getaway, or simply exploring from your screen, WanderSight is your passport to adventure. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon. Discover unique travel destinations, wonders of the world, get practical tips and itineraries, enjoy stunning visuals and immersive storytelling. Don't just watch, become part of the WanderSight community. Share your travel dreams and questions in the comments. Smash that like button to support future adventures. Let's explore, dream, and wander together. Welcome aboard.